зараз я хотіла б передати слово також дуже надійному і важливому партнеру України, пан Йоганнес Баур, керівник 3-го відділу програм допомоги енергетика, транспорту, навколишнього середовища, делегації Європейського Союзу в Україні. Дуже прошу.
Pleasure for me to be here at the opening of this conference. Dear Minister, dear Ambassador, dear participants, Ukraine has chosen a clear path of reform and modernization towards European standards, and the EU is committed to helping the Ukrainian people to reach this goal, and this is of course also and in particular valid for the environmental area. The signing of the association agreement between the EU and the participation of Ukraine in the Energy Community Treaty, these are all important milestones for our bilateral relations and also for Ukraine's European future. The agreements establish a clear framework for political association and economic integration by opening EU markets to Ukrainian goods and services, as Ukraine adopts the rules of the game of the EU's common market. Of course, association is not a one-day endeavor. It is requiring an intensive work within and with the various structures of the Ukrainian government and also, of course, the civil society. And a multitude of legislative work and adaptation of the institutional setup has to be done. We just had a few days ago the subcommittee on energy and environment in Brussels, also with the active participation of the ministry, and we had good discussions how we have to structure our cooperation, what are the priorities, and what we should do in the future. And this is important because, of course, the requirements are high. Alone in the field of environment, there are 29 EU directives listed in the relevant annex of the association agreement. All of them are in line with the national environment strategy of Ukraine, and they have to be implemented. It is clear that such an ambitious harmonization program can only be reached step by step, and we therefore have to define priorities. And from the EU side, we focus on helping Ukraine to adopt key framework laws, such as the laws on environmental impact assessment, and on the improvement in the area of waste and water sectors. We very much regret that it was not, it seems not possible to quickly finalize the law on strategic environmental impact assessment and on environmental impact assessment. We are going and we will analyze the reasons for the President to veto these laws, but from our first impression it is certainly not good news on the way to a closer integration of Ukraine to the EU, and it is not good news ahead of the forthcoming EU-Ukraine summit at the end of this month. These laws are part of long-standing obligations of Ukraine under international conventions, such as the Espo Convention. And both laws are absolutely necessary if you want to make progress in the field of environment. I would like to appeal to the Ukrainian authorities, therefore, to finally enact this law with the highest urgency and as soon as possible. I think there's probably two major misunderstandings in this area. One is what does it mean to have a free market economy according to the European example? It does not mean that there are no laws and regulations regulating these markets, for example in the social area or in the environmental area. Of course, these regulations are necessary also in a free market. And the second misunderstanding is, I think, that the law on environmental impact assessment will not help Ukraine in improving its infrastructure, transport infrastructure or other big infrastructure projects, which is of course a very important task which we also support in Ukraine. Ukraine has to improve its infrastructure, but I think on the contrary, adopting this law will help attracting international investors, because they are used to work with these kinds of laws, such as the European model of the environmental impact assessment. They're used to it, and they preferred to have more or less the same standards in Ukraine than no clear standards in this area. Ladies and gentlemen, the EU is able and has already provided a lot of financial and technical assistance to Ukraine in support of the comprehensive reform program undertaken by the government, the more immediate response to the financial crisis and the humanitarian emergencies in the East. And in the field of environment, our support has been channeled both through regional and bilateral programs aimed at the development by partner countries of environment protection strategies, implementation of international conventions, and environmental monitoring and reporting. We will continue to support Ukraine in the approximation process. Currently, we have several projects in different areas underway. One key problem is, of course, also to strengthen the administrative capacity of the state authorities. We are supporting already specific ministries with reform support teams that should help the ministries to reform, to bring forward the reform agenda in their area of responsibility, but also to reform the ministries and the structure of the ministries itself. These are the ministries where the leadership is committed to reform, to modernize the administration with the aim to improve the legislative framework and also the administrative work. This is done also in view of improving opportunities for public participation and to improve the access to information. And I think we are currently, together with the Ministry of Ecology, also looking in opportunities to work on this in this area. We are having an intense dialogue with the ministry, and we are hoping to strengthen this dialogue further. But, of course, another pillar of our cooperation is to work with civil society. We will not be able to steer the progress in the field of environment and sustainable development from Kiev, and neither, of course, from far Brussels. It is on the spot, in towns and villages, where also decisions have to be made, have to be influenced, and where the real change will occur. And we will continue to support also NGOs in this important work. I hope this conference will be a good platform for discussion and finding ways for improving the environmental governance in Ukraine. We are ready to support you. Thank you.
Дякую, пане Баур. Це досить символічно, що в Україні новий посол Швеції і новий директор, який відповідає за охорону навколишнього середовища представництва Європейського Союзу, і новий міністр, і всі вони починають з того, що говорять про належне екологічне врядування. Мені здається, це дуже хороша заявка на успіх.